What my question really is how do we define a resident? How do we verify a residence? I'm sure the committee has thought about that, or staff has thought about that, how we do this. Because I think just saying that we're going to allow it without actually having some kind of rule for how we process this is not good.
We did.
I mean, we, in the unredacted version of all of the, even the current applications, people put their addresses. And so if people put their addresses and it's a Culver City address, then that will be fine. If I don't feel like there is a pressing need to play gotcha and to see, you know, I don't expect it to be a problem that people who don't live here will pretend to live here. The type of work that committees and commissions and boards take, you know, this is a pretty small town. Like, people know each other. We're a smaller scale community, and I prefer to trust people.
Trust but verify.
Well, they have an address.
Yeah, but you know, anyone can put down an address. I think that for legality, if you have the planning commission and so on, if you know, we have, you know, if there's someone that lives in Los Angeles and put in an address because they live on Watseka and put in an address and think it's Culver City, even that it is Los Angeles. And we appoint them and they end up, I don't know if that creates any problems. So I would like to, if we're going to have an address, I think it has to be verified like you have to do with everything else. You bring in your electrical bill or you know, utility bill or something that usually is used to verify residency.
Well, I think in this context, we were thinking more, since the mayor stated we don't verify addresses at the current moment, then any type of suggestion around address verification would not be for this item in particular, but would have to be a global change that applies to all committees and commissions.
Well, and then you just add a layer, right? You add a layer to the whole process, and I don't know, I mean, I don't know that it would be a big problem. Are you thinking like, oh my goodness, this person who really wants to be on the Cultural Affairs Commission, they don't actually live in Culver City, they're lying to us? Like, I just don't see that happening.
I think the Planning Commission is, for me, the most sensitive one, right? Because they actually have power.
Can I just ask for a quick clarification? Yeah. Do we currently verify the voter registration of applicants to commissions?
No, we don't. I was actually just conferring with Gabby in the city clerk's office. So we verify through unofficial means, which could still be done here, but not through official voter records or identification.
So there's a certain level of trust involved in the way that we've done it all along. I mean, any applicant can put down that they're a registered voter, but they may not be.
Correct.
Yeah, so we only verify on the application that they've stated that they are registered voters, and we don't have access to a database right now that will allow us to really verify that they are voters.
Okay.
I mean, we know everybody who applies to Planning Commission.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you know, we talk about we want people to register to vote, and that's, you know, is one driver, that if you want to serve on anything here, you need to register and actually become a voter. So it sort of has two effects here, right? So now you don't have to, and
yeah, but not everybody can. I mean, that's the whole point. It's not everybody can register to vote.
No, I know. I wasn't a citizen until 2004. And before that, I didn't engage in anything in the city because it was, you know, no, I wasn't. But I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. I felt that, you know, when I become a citizen, yes, then this is where I live. This is my home now. So I've gone through that whole thing. So
right, but again, not everybody has that choice. Not
So
even the
that's- yeah.
choice that you had.
So my concern has been how, how we deal with this residency issue and how we make sure of it, because I don't want to end up in some discussion after the fact, after we have appointed someone and staff took them for their word and we, misread where the address really was and so on. A lot of people think they live in Culver City, but they don't. So that's a concern on that one. I specifically don't have a major issue with it other than making sure that people actually live in our city. What I have an issue with is the 16-year-old. I'm not going to support that because I don't really see the purpose behind that. And there is no argument whatsoever in the staff report about that. It's just sort of a statement saying that this is going to happen. And I've been reading a lot back and forth about this, and it seems to the argument that it helps civic engagement is sort of interesting, because I also read a comment about why are people worried about this, because so far we haven't appointed any 18-year-old to any committee and so on. Well, then it becomes exactly like my colleague said here, it's just a symbolic thing, right? So we now say that if you're 16, you can apply, and we will never, ever appoint someone at 16. Isn't that really working the opposite, discouraging them, saying that, they just did this because it felt a good thing? Because we never have had an 18-year-old on any of our commissions. So, and I also think there's a lot of other issues with this. The broader issue is maturity. Yes, there are some adults that's not very mature, and there are some young people that are mature, absolutely. But overall, as a general consensus, I think it's a little too early to bring them in to actually have the decision power. What the risk I see is there is sort of a young person on a commission or something, and they basically just will be following some of the other commissioners who they get a relationship with. So it's like a 2-for-1. I don't know how independent they really will be. Young people have a tendency to sort of follow mentors. And if we think back when we changed in this country, changed the voter age to 18, and that was a big discussion, and it took a couple of years. But the argument that was really, they had a tagline, I think, was, if you're old enough to fight, you should be old enough to vote. And the country agreed with that, and I think that really makes sense. But with 16-year-olds, they don't even pay their own mobile phone bills, most of them. So, I have really hard, I see that we can engage them in other ways, but I would not want to have that we say that we're going to appoint 16-year-olds, because I don't think it's going to happen, and it's just a false sort of feel-good thing that doesn't make sense. So I hope we can separate that up, because I want to vote no on that.